Hello and welcome to another RookieCardPrices.com educational video. One of the questions I get asked a lot is whether to send a card out for grading or not. I have done a lot of flipping cards where I buy them off eBay when they look good, and if it really does look good, once I get it, I can send it off to PSA or other grading companies and get it graded and hopefully turn a profit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have been a dealer of sports cards and collectibles for many years, so I have, while I haven't been an actual grader ever, professional grader, I have a lot of experience with that. So in today's video, I want to show you a few things on how that works. Real quick, I just want to also mention, if you like content like this, check out our YouTube channel. We do pack openings, educational videos, pricing type videos, so give us a like and subscribe. Check that out. Also, of course, check out RookieCardPrices.com. It is your free rookie card price guide and resource guide. It has raw and graded values of rookie cards, and you can jump in and look up your cards anytime. It's completely free to use. There's no sign up and no credit card information or anything like that. Okay, without further ado, let's talk about grading. One of the big things with grading, I'm showing you a few cards here right now, but obviously these are not cards I would ever send out to grade. The value of them just really isn't there unless you can, for sure, you have a 10, like maybe of the Coleman rookie or one of the Cal Ripkins, but otherwise they're really not cards I would send out. And that's kind of where I want to start, is if you have a card that you want to send to PSA or other grading company, make sure that that card, unless it's something you're going to put in your PC and you just want to grade it for fun, if you're going to try to turn a profit, the card has to be worth at least $50 after grading it. Because you're going to pay for the grading fee, you're going to pay to have it shipped to the grading company, you're going to pay to have it shipped back from the grading company, and then of course all of eBay selling fees and things like that. So the card really should be worth at least $50 to even say you're going to break even with grading a card. So for instance, if I were to grab one of these cards, I mean, even this this older card here, this is going to be one of our examples we're going to look at. It's really damaged. I mean, the corners are horrible, there's wrinkles in it, and even though it's a 1968 card, tops, it still wouldn't be worth, I mean, it's going to come back a 1 probably in the grading process and be worth, I don't even know what the 1 is worth, but not much at all. So with that said, the next thing I like to do is I have a few tools here that I like to use. I don't know if professional graders use them or not, but I always use a loop. It's a jeweler's loop. It's a very cheap product that you can buy, and you can zoom in on the corners, the edges, things like that, and get a good idea for what that card may grade at by looking at those things very closely. The next thing that I always try to look at, and what I do, is I say that a card is a 10 until proven otherwise. So it is, obviously these are not 10s, but and you can tell a lot of times just by looking at them, but that's what I always like to do. I say it's a 10 until I can prove it otherwise. So, and that's where we'll jump in here in a second, and we will start with our first thing that we look at. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at when it comes to deciding whether a card is graded, worth grading or not, is centering. You know, before I go too far, I want to make one good point here. None of this is financial advice. You're going to have to do this on your own and see if the card you have is worth grading. I've fallen into the trap before. I've sent stuff off for grading thinking they're going to come back a 10 and they come back a 6. So it's up to you. Not financial advice, just suggestions here, and you can go from there and see what you want to do. So let's jump into centering. One of the big things that a card company or a grading company is going to look at first is that centering on those cards. So let's take a look at this Vince Coleman here. You can see, and this is 1986 Topps, by the way, so you can see how bad that centering is on those cards, and it is almost always like this. It's very hard to find these cards really nice centered. You can see the top to bottom is horrible. The Cardinals almost gets cut there on this one, and the side to side centering is really bad also. So instantly right now we know this card is not a 10 and probably not a 9 either, just by the centering alone. You want to look at the back as well, centering. There is more lenience on the back when it comes to centering. PSA, to get a PSA 10, I should also mention, your centering has to be somewhere around 55-45 on the front, okay, which is almost, I mean, really that's almost a perfect centering, and 75-25 on the back, which does actually give you some pretty good leeway, but it's still very tough. Almost every 10 I ever see has nearly perfect centering. Okay, you can see here here's another 1986 Topps. Again, top to bottom centering is terrible. Now left to right is actually way better on this card than it is on the Vince Coleman I showed you before, but still not too good. Now the back on this one is pretty good. The centering on the back is pretty good. It's off a little bit top to bottom and a little bit side to side, but that is pretty good. But yeah, centering is a really tough thing. When they have square, especially when they have a border like this, you can really see when they're off. This Cal Ripken here, you can see, is pretty far off on its centering side to side and top to bottom. In fact, it even looks like it's cut crooked, which is another thing to look for. Back's not too good either. But that's the main thing. You want to really look for that. They do give you, like I said, some leeway on the 10, but not much. If you go to the 9, you get a lot more leeway, 60-40 or better on the front, and a 90-10 on the back, which actually can be pretty, 90-10, you can be pretty off center on that and still get a 9. But going from what I've learned in my experience, 10s, mint gem 10s are really hard to get, especially when you're going after these older cards, junk wax era type stuff. Even when you get into the vintage, it gets really tough to get a mint gem 10. Okay, the very next thing after centering is I look at the corners. Corners are going to be very important on all 4 corners. You want to check, and that's where the loop comes in handy. I'll grab my handy dandy loop here, and I will usually take a card and I will go right up to the corner and I will look at it under the loop and see if there is any damage to the corners. This is a great example of damage that from far away you don't really see it, but once you zoom in, you can see that corner damage on that card. And when you get far away, you don't even see it. So it's especially on the black. When you have black bordered cards, it's really easy to see problems. The bottom ones look pretty sharp. Not great, but they look okay. This Cal Ripken has some pretty sharp, I think I pulled this out of a pack. It has pretty sharp corners. So the corners on this one are pretty good. Again, I always take my loop and give it a quick look. And on the white, it's a lot easier to miss some little bit of dings and stuff, but corners are very important. And I will say that 1971 Topps, I think it is, the 1987 Donruss, 1986 Topps, just to name a few, have those black edges and black corners, and it is really tough to get those in 10 just because they show every single little ding. Even this one, which is a pretty decent looking card, it's still, you can see that corner is not perfect. Here's a great example of a corner that's going to get you a PSA 1. Some real hefty damage on that card there. But yeah, corners are probably the next important thing that you want to check, and you want to really make sure you got those sharp corners. After corners, we're going to go right to edges. The edges of the card are, of course, aside from the corner itself, is the whole, all four of the edges on these cards. Again, these black bordered cards are going to be really tough with edges. This one actually looks pretty good, but when you get it up there, you can see little bits of white specks and things like that, and I can tell you right now that that is gonna bring you down on grades. There you go. You can see that black on the right above the I and D in Cardinals, how it's got that like chipping in it. That's no good. Not gonna grade a card that looks like that, especially if it's not extremely expensive. You also want to check to see if the card is bowed at all. These actually don't look too bad, but sometimes they do, especially if they've been sitting in boxes and things like that. This one's got a little bit of a bow to it. But yeah, so you want to check the edges really carefully. Under your loop, you can take your loop and take a look at it also. You can really go down the whole edge and the corners and check it all out, and make sure that those cards have good edges and corners if you're going to send them out to grading. All right, so the very last thing we're going to look at is the surface. This is something that most people skip on or don't realize how important checking the surface of the card is. And it's very easy to miss things as well on the surface of these cards. Again, I will use my loop a lot of times, and I will just kind of go down the card and check for any kind of scratches, dings, printing defects, spots, printing spots, ink spots, any kind of blur to the or movement when the ink was wet, things like that. And sometimes it's easy to see, sometimes it's not. Actually, let's take a look at this Don Mattingly here, and I can show you a couple things. See if I can get it into focus here. You see that green print dot right there? Call those fish eyes. That's what they are referred to. And they're like little spots that were on the printing plate or something like that that made a dot on there, and that can bring you down in grades. There's also some scratches. One of the things you can do is take a light and kind of tilt the card. You can see the shine on it, and then you can really see, I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but there are scratches on this card on the front, which are going to affect its grade. Also down here at the very, very bottom, there are some little, on the white, there's some black and gray dots. There's even a little gray stain on the side right here. So all those things will affect the grade on this card. Centering on the back looks pretty good. Corners look pretty good. There is another little spot down there. These are all things you want to look for. You want to check that out when you're checking surface of cards. Here's one of the 86 tops. Again, you can put it in the light and kind of take a look, see if you see any scratches. You can really see actually this corner, how it's bent. These are things that'll get past you, and you gotta make sure if you're gonna send it out to grade, because that will affect it pretty good actually. I mean, affect it in a bad way, but affect it, it'll bring it down by quite a few grades. Another thing you want to look for is wrinkles. I can show you in this one here. There's actually a few. You can even rub your, I don't suggest doing this unless you have really clean hands, especially on an expensive card, but you can feel the wrinkles in it. And just putting it up to the light, I can see that wrinkle right across that whole top of that corner. Pretty good. It's a pretty deep wrinkle, and That card's definitely a 1 if I were to send it out, almost for sure. Yeah, so look for that. Also wax stains on the back. I don't have an example of that right now, but any of these cards that you pulled out of vintage or junk wax era packs in the 80s, you had the bubble gum in there, and they would leave a gum stain, or you can have a wax stain on the card as well, depending on which one is on the top or the bottom of the pack. Again, so wax stains, scratches, printing defects, imperfections, the fish eyes, spots, wrinkles. You want to look for all that before you send your cards out for grading. All right, well, with all of that said, this last thing we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and grade a card. Well, we're going to give our opinion of what we think the grade's going to be if we were to send this one out. Again, I wouldn't send this card out for grading. With quick glance, I can already tell it's off center. It's not really a very high value card. It's not a rookie or anything like that. But let's go ahead and work through each step. And we'll go from there. So, like I said at first, I love to say this card's a 10 before I even start. All right, and we're going to go backwards from there. So the first thing I am going to check is, of course, our centering. You can pull the card up here, and you can see that we got some pretty bad centering on that card. And these junk wax era cards are notorious for centering and printing issues. When you get into modern stuff, especially ultra modern, you don't see too much of that anymore as the printing technology has gotten good. But top to bottom is also off quite a bit. So it's like the whole picture of this card is set to the upper left side. So that's an issue. Back actually looks pretty good. It's a little off top to bottom. It's a little too high. But you can see with the stats, it's pretty well centered on the back, actually. That's a pretty good centered card on the back. The front, yeah, has its issues. Next thing we're going to go to is we're going to look at corners. So again, this is one of those black edged cards. So we want to look at those corners really carefully, get some light on it. They look okay, not great, but you can see some whiting on that one there, so it's dinged a little bit. That one looks pretty good, pretty sharp, and this one, all four. You want to check all four. It looks like there's a little bit of issues on that corner there, so not good. All these things we're seeing here have already brought this one down. I don't think we're even looking at a 7 at this point. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is the edges. We've done the corners. Let's take a look at the edges here. It's going to be hard to see on the camera here, but I'm looking at it. The edges actually look pretty decent. You can take your loop again too and just kind of go down. A lot of times you can put the card on the table and you can go down and look through the loop at it. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that upper corner is not good. Ooh, that one's really bad too. Actually, with the loop, I'm really seeing it. I don't know that I've heard PSA graders use loops and things, tools like that, and sometimes they say they don't. So I don't know that for sure, but if I'm seeing it, they're probably going to see it too. And the next thing we're going to go look at is the surface of this card. So surface, we're going to get some light on it here. Again, it's going to be hard to see in the camera, but I'll try to do the best I can. I don't see any scratches, wrinkles, or anything like that on this card. I actually thought that on his neck. I think that's supposed to be on the card. It's in the photo. I don't see too much issues with the surface of this card. And on the back as well, there's no stains, no wax stains, no gum stains. It's looking pretty good for that part of it. I don't see any even printing imperfections like I showed you on the Mattingly before. So this one actually looks pretty good. I would say if I were to send this, I would expect to probably get a 6 out of it. It could even go 7, but I don't think so with that centering, but it's possible. But yeah, that's about what I do. Before I send it out, I'll check it, even further, and just really make sure that all of these things, especially if you're going for tens, man, that card's got to be perfect. And I would even expect it to go for nines. It's very rare to get tens, but it does happen. So with that said, make sure you check out rookiecardprices.com, your free rookie card price guide, and good luck hunting for your cards and pulling those mint gem 10s. Thanks for watching.